Okay, tonight we're going to talk about what to do for the introductory and conclusion paragraphs of your literary analysis task. So let's review the question that was asked of us originally, the prompt. Analyze the events of Minding Minna and Not My Fault. What are the themes of the passages and how are the themes of the passages related? Determine how the events of the passage's plots support and develop the themes. Support the themes using explicit text evidence. So if we take a look at our organizer, which you'll be using tomorrow for the introduction, we have a hook, a claim, and a transition, which we will name HCT. And the hook is kind of like a sound smart sentence. It hooks the reader in with something that sounds really interesting. So we gave you some sample hooks down here, such as inspirational themes give novels the power to grow in a reader's consciousness. Theme is a lesson we take away from a work of fiction that is applicable to our own lives. Theme is the kernel of truth that we extract from literary works that remain with us for generations to come. And that's the one that we chose here as our hook. Theme is the kernel of truth that we extract from a literary work that remains with us for a lifetime. And don't forget, this is actually coming from the literary analysis essay that I shared with you in class. This is the introductory paragraph from that one, which had to do with lessons from a quilt and all hail King George, just so we're not confused. This one's not going to be about Minding Minna, but I just wanted to reiterate that question so that you remember what you're going to be writing about tomorrow. But here is how I formulated the introductory paragraph for Lessons from a Quilt and All Hail King George. So I used this hook. Then I stated the claim. I answered the question. I said what the theme was because the question was about themes, so I wanted to answer it. The themes of Lessons from a Quilt and All Hail King George deal with working with others. And then we use a transition sentence, a sentence that's now going to lead us into our first body paragraph. So that one is, by analyzing the theme in these two passages, it will become evident that these texts are very similar. So it doesn't really matter what your question asks. You can always use this same sentence. For example, if your prompt asked you about character, you just insert the word characters here. By analyzing the main characters in these two passages, it will become evident that these texts are very similar. Or if they're asking about point of view, you can say by analyzing the point of view in these two passages, it will become evident that these two texts are very similar, because that's what you're going to be doing in the first two body paragraphs of your essay. So again, we have a hook, a claim, and a transition. HCT. Okay, so now we're going to look at the conclusion paragraph, and we're going to talk about how we actually end up reversing the letters. So we're going to go T, C, H. Now you'll see the order of these letters and the order of the sentences that I'm going to share with you are just slightly different than the expert model that I gave you, because the other teachers and I decided that it would make better sense if we took the introduction and just reversed it. So we're going to begin with our transition. And it's going to go like this. Through careful analysis, these two texts prove to have similar themes. Or, like you see in the essay, through analysis of these two passages, we have learned that to be a good leader, you must listen to others' ideas, and that working together with others will allow you to achieve more than working alone. So we kind of say what it is that we've learned. We say how they have similar themes. And then we restate the claim, so you can see the themes of Lessons from a Quilt and All Hail King George both have to do with working with others, and we're including the titles of the work. And then finally we restate the hook, so we're going to choose a different hook. These lessons can remain with us for a lifetime and guide us as we make important decisions and work with others. So where we used HCT in the introduction, we're going to use TCH in the conclusion. And that is how we're going to formulate the introductory paragraph and the conclusion paragraph. So we need to think about what we could say for Minding Minna and Not My Fault. And we're going to work on this tomorrow in class. But what hook should we use? Do we want to use the same one that I used in the last essay. Maybe we're going to say theme is the kernel of truth that we extract from literary works and that remain with us for generations to come. I want you to be thinking about what's the claim? What are we going to claim these two texts have in common? What about Minding Minna? What did Sam learn? And in Not My Fault, what did the character learn? I think they both learned something about responsibility. So somehow we're going to have to incorporate this word into here because I think that's the link between the two passages. And then we'll include our transition. And then, of course, we will reverse it for our conclusion. So again, tomorrow in class, we'll be talking about how we can connect Minding Minna and Not My Fault. And I think this word is the key. So this word is going to become part of our claim. Okay, so please be ready to begin our hook, claim, and transition to be working with our introductory and conclusion paragraphs as we prepare to write our first draft of our first literary analysis task essay in our writer's notebooks. Have a great rest of your night.